Here's a stupid detail for your master slants. If you don't have a rack for your 50cc centrifuge tubes, these are great if you need a little more room to fit your scalpel in there without rubbing all along the sides. If you don't have a rack for it, just use mason jars. You probably already have them laying around your op anyways. You can fit 4 to a jar. And what I'm going to do is use these these cellulose lids as a filter. So then when I PC them for 45 minutes, I don't have to worry about putting it in front of the flow hood or anything because there's a filter. You never messed with these cellulose lids before. It's this simple. You just get the ring that comes with your jars. You put your cellulose disc in first. Then you put your inside lid with the gasket. I have 3 1/16-inch holes drilled in there just so the pressure could release inside. And I used to use these for spawn, but I don't anymore since we switched with bags a couple years ago. But that's how it'll look. And after your cycle, you're safe to just leave it in the pressure canner on a table. In this case, we'll be leaving at a slant, and I'll show footage of that. As you can see here, you could fit 7 jars on the bottom. So you could put 28 slants each run. And honestly, you could put 3 more on top like you usually would. But I prefer to just stick to 7 because 28 slants at a time is usually more than enough. Put enough water in there, 15 psi for 45 minutes. That's just off of the instructions that are on the Fungi Perfecti instructions for their antibiotic agar. Now, I didn't cook these. I just wanted to demonstrate what you do after the cooking cycle's over. You can let it cool for a little bit so the agar on the inside stops boiling and cools down just a little bit. But before it completely cools and solidifies, I just put mine on a baking sheet. Nothing fancy. And they stay like that till they completely cool. And this is right here in my kitchen. I'm not in front of a flow hood or a positive pressure lab or anything fancy. It just stays right there. It's safe. It's fine. And when I'm ready to use it, I just bring these jars into the lab and inoculate. Now, for those of you wondering, master slants are used for long-term storage of cultures. Sometimes you'll see people using agar dishes and storing them in their fridge, but it's really not the best practice. There's so much surface area on those agar dishes that they tend to dry out. You might be able to get away with it, for 6 months or so, but eventually it'll dry out so much it'll just kill the mycelium. There are some cases too where cultures actually live long, so it'll dispel anything I'm saying. But generally speaking, it's better practice to use master slants. It's the preferred method. And it's the better method because it has less surface area and it can retain more moisture for a longer period of time. Some people put popsicle sticks or some sort of piece of wood in the master slant, and it's said to increase the life of the culture in that fridge, maybe extend it from 3 years to 5 years. I haven't found that to matter much, and I'm going in there and using these strains all the time. So they're not just sitting in the fridge for 5 years straight without actually being used. And I'll cover more on slants in other videos in the future. I just wanted to show how I do it with mason jars and how it's worked out for me. I leave it in the mason jars until it's time to use it, and then I just open it up and inoculate in front of the flow hood. See you next time.